Hey there, and welcome. So let's talk about a huge challenge in the software world. How do you tackle these massive, super complex projects without everything just falling apart? Well, today we're going to look at a classic blueprint designed to do exactly that. It's called the Rational Unified Process, or as most people know it, RUP.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You've got hundreds of developers all working on the same system. How in the world do you keep everyone pulling in the same direction? More importantly, how do you make sure the thing you're building is actually what people want and need? It's a recipe for disaster, right? Well, that's the exact kind of chaos RUP was created to tame.
And here's the big idea behind it. RUP is not some super strict follow every single step kind of plan. It's much more of a framework, a set of guidelines to bring some order to that chaos we were just talking about. The two magic words here are iterative and incremental. It's all about one main goal: building a great product that people will actually use and love.
All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with what RUP actually is, look at its three main pillars, walk through its four-phase life cycle, see how the team's effort changes over time, and wrap up with the big advantages of using it. Okay, let's dive into the core of RUP. To really get it, you've got to understand its philosophy, which boils down to three key ideas. These are the pillars that hold the whole thing up. So RUP is really smart about separating the what from the how. The first pillar is all about being use case driven. This just means we focus on the function by asking a simple question. What does the user actually need to do with this thing? These use cases, they become the driving force for everything. Then you've got the second pillar, which is architecture centric. This is the how. It's the form, the skeleton of the software that makes all those functions possible. You absolutely need both. They go hand in hand. Now for the third pillar, and honestly, this might be the most important one, it's the whole iterative and incremental thing. With RUP, you don't try to build the entire system in one go. No way. Instead, you break it down into a series of mini projects or iterations and add new stuff piece by piece. And here's the genius part. It forces you to go after the biggest, scariest risks right at the beginning. That way, you find out super early if your main ideas are even going to work. Okay, so we've got the philosophy down. Now let's get practical. How does RUP actually take you from just a spark of an idea all the way to a finished live product? Well, it breaks that journey down into four clear sequential phases. And here they are: inception, elaboration, construction, and transition. A great way to remember them is the vision, the blueprint, the beta, and the live product. Each of these phases has a super specific goal. And maybe most importantly, each one ends with a critical checkpoint, a go/no-go decision. So every project kicks off with the inception phase. And listen, this part is not about writing a single line of code. It's all about asking the big tough questions up front. Like, should we even be doing this project? What are we building and what are we not building? And what are the scariest risks we can see right now? The goal here isn't to produce software, it's to produce clarity. Things like a vision document, some initial use cases, and a ballpark idea of the cost. And this, right here, is where you see the incredible discipline of RUP. At the end of inception, you hit this major milestone. You have to stop and ask, is everybody on board? Do the business folks, the tech team, the people funding this, does everyone agree on what we're building, how much it'll cost, and how long it'll take? If the answer is anything but a solid yes, the project could get a major rethink or even get canceled on the spot. All right, once you've got that green light, you move into the elaboration phase. Think of this as creating the architectural blueprint for your software house. This is where the technical heavy lifting happens. The team really digs into the problem, designs the core structure, and, this is key, they build a working prototype to prove that the hardest, riskiest parts of the system can actually be done. And here we are at another critical checkpoint. The big question this time is all about confidence. Does our prototype actually work? Have we proven we can solve those tough technical challenges? Is this blueprint strong enough to build the entire house on top of it? You don't move on unless you can confidently say yes to all of that.
Now we get to the construction phase. This is what most of us think of when we hear software development. It's heads down coding time. This is where the team builds out all the features, does tons of testing, and puts all the pieces together. The main goal here is to get to a solid beta release, something that's ready for some real users to start playing with.
But wait, before you push that button and send it out into the world, even to a small group, you've got to hit pause and ask this milestone question. Is this thing stable? Is it mature enough for real people to use? Are we truly ready to go from our cozy development world to the real world? This is the final gate before launch. And at last, we've made it to the transition phase. This is launch time. It's all about getting the software out there to everyone who's going to use it. This phase covers everything from user training to collecting bug reports and feature ideas. You're basically shifting gears from we're building a project to we're running a live project. And this brings us to the ultimate milestone, the one question that really matters at the end of the day. It's so simple, but it's everything. Are our users happy? Did we actually build the right thing? The answer to that question is what defines whether the whole project was a success or not. So, one of the really cool things about RUP is how it recognizes that a team's energy isn't just one flat line. The focus shifts dramatically over time. Different kinds of work will peak during different phases, which creates this really natural rhythm for the whole project. So if you look at how this plays out, you're always doing a little bit of everything. But the main effort, the peak, it moves. For instance, all that business modeling work, that's huge in the inception phase. Then, when you get to elaboration, it's all about requirements and design. Of course, the heavy implementation and coding, that's the star of the show in construction. And then, you guessed it, deployment work really ramps up in that final transition phase. Makes a lot of sense, right? Okay, so we've gone through all the phases and pillars. The big question now is, so what? Why go through all this trouble? Why does this structured approach actually matter? Let's break down the key advantages. For starters, it massively cuts down on risk. By making you tackle the big, scary problems early in elaboration, you avoid those project-killing surprises later on. It's also way better at handling change. Because it's iterative, you're not locked into a rigid plan from day one. You can actually adapt as requirements evolve. Plus, you're getting feedback from stakeholders all the time, and you're building quality in from the very start, not just trying to test it in at the end. And this quote, this really gets to the heart of it. The project might be canceled or considerably reshaped if it fails to pass this milestone. Think about that. These milestones aren't just friendly check-ins. They are serious, hard stop decision points. RUP basically gives you permission. It encourages you to pull the plug on a bad idea early, which can save an unbelievable amount of time and money. So that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. You know, in today's world, which is so dominated by agile methods, what can we still learn from a classic like RUP? I think its disciplined approach to getting the architecture right and its relentless focus on killing risks early, those ideas are absolutely timeless. It's a great reminder that even when you want to be fast and flexible, having a solid foundation, well, that's still everything.